allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome to the Bourbon County Commission meeting, April 29, 5:30 to 2 p.m. Approval consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda, which is the minutes 422, accounts payable and payroll.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Looks like Bo.
Bo Casper, public comments, please.
Front and center. Red lights on. All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to talk today a little bit about solar panels again. I know we've all been trying to do research and find some stuff out and try to figure out whatever, whether it be setbacks, whatever we've got coming through. Well, I know I sound like a broken record coming to you guys and everybody else hearing it and stuff, but I'm going to keep coming. Everybody knows I rodeoed for a living and there's some grit involved there, and I take pride in where I live, what I do, and that kind of stuff. But so in regards to this, we all hopefully survived this flood storm that we just had, this rainwater, everything coming down, which to me, I don't have any papers printed out, but I will get you guys the input on this. But after seeing what the rainwater does, especially in the Mill Creek area, starting with Mill Creek and then working down into the Marmonton and so forth, I'm not against, first off, I'm not 100% against solar farms. I'm not saying that we can't have them and we can't find a place for them. I think there are plenty of places in this county for them. But I do not think the Mill Creek is good for them, especially seeing how much rainwater just come off. And I'm sure you guys have looked into this, but you know, there is the SWIP. Do we have anything, have we looked into anything on the SWIP with storm water drainage, anything? I mean, about this concept. I know we keep coming into the EPA side of it, and you don't even have to, but the Water Act of 1972, it controlling water flows coming off of pollutions in other waterways and everything else that we've had. Well, a prime example, and this exactly sees of what we're doing, and 135th, that's in Mill Creek, and I just watched all that water flow. I had to bail my mother-in-law out of her house who lives in Devon, which is exactly where everything from where these are going, at least up on the upper half. Now, there's some on the lower half that aren't going through that area. Now, they may be transporting other areas, but we need to figure out a way that if these are going to go through, if people are persisting for these to go through, we need to find a way to get these in the right spots and everything. And I'm going to pull this up. This is straight from the EPA, and I will bring this in and give it to the county clerk. I've got 4 right here, and I just started looking at it today, actually, because after the floods, it struck with me pretty good. But the EPA announces settlements to resolve Clean Water Act violations at 4 solar farm construction sites in Alabama, Idaho, and Illinois. So the Environmental Protection Agency and the Department of Justice today announced settlements for 4 of these. These solar farms, let's see here, let me get here. 4 settlements, defendants ensure Clean Water Act stormwater permits. The settlements resolve claims alleged in 4 separate complaints. The government's also filed today development of improper use of the drain water ditches coming through. I mean, they come through there, they did everything, but when they messed up the land and everything, didn't follow the rules, however the rules need to be. And that's just one of them. I'll get into another one in a minute, but we need to, the county, everybody involved, we need to make sure who comes in here and whoever does this, that we've got them cleaned up the right way, because I've got another picture here, then I don't pull it up, I can pass my phone around, but this is in the same deal from Alabama, from the Chattahoochee, it running off. There are runoffs from this, and there is an effect in it, or else there wouldn't have been 4 lawsuits that are going through right now that and these lawsuits were from 2018, I believe. So they've already been through. And maybe you guys have seen that, and maybe everybody has, and I'm just a hillbilly that doesn't realize any of that, but we don't have any actions, or I shouldn't say actions, any input when I ask, or when anybody asks what regulations are being done, we're told, go to KDHE, follow whatever. Well, in the one, it says even the county, and I'm not going to read through it and put you through this, me trying to find it, but it says even the county and somebody else was maybe it was a state, I can't remember now, but is who they were talking about through this. If we've got a way to get around this, or to figure out setbacks and regulations and stuff, which I think we gave you enough with what we talked about, or I gave you from the attorney already. I think we can figure something out, but I don't think it can come just from I don't know, and then we keep moving on and go forward with it. We need to figure out a way to the right spots. But I don't see how in the world with what I've got here, which, like I said, I'll get them to you and I'll file them with the clerk. But there was enough runoff and everything coming through. How are these settlements going on in 4 different states if there's nothing harmful in them? And
Those were, sorry,
go ahead.
I mean,
No,
I looked
you're
into
good.
those,
Yeah.
and that was during the construction.
Are we?
They were
We
during the
don't have to
construction.
construct these though.
It was not after they were built.
Do
So these
we-
are the trucks that's leaking oil. These are the hydraulic fluid, the drills. So a solar panel, anyway, I looked
Okay, so
into
what
two of them.
regulations are we going to do, Clifton, to regulate the trucks and stuff going through?
Well,
Because
we'd be happy to do it. Do you have a diesel truck?
hey, I got lots of diesel trucks,
Okay.
but guess
So we're gonna
what?
regulate everybody. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm talking about regulating the people coming in and doing this solar panel. They all come from the solar farms. They didn't come from a diesel truck,
That's
or
because
else
it's an easy
everybody would have
target.
been in problems with
They didn't come
this.
from the solar panels or the post. Is that,
I
the
didn't,
lawsuits
I'm not
I-
saying they are. I'm saying we need to find out
So what
ways
are
to
you saying?
regulate
So-
and bring the permits, whatever we need to do to have these in. We need to have people checking permits and keeping track of this stuff, just like they do fuel tanks and stuff when this process is going on, because obviously it's happening.
Well,
And that's what I'm getting at.
let me mention that KDHE is involved in this. That's our state representatives, the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. They're involved in it, they're monitoring it, they're watching it, they're making judgments on it, they're not stopping these. So at this point, the KDHE does not think there's any hazard there.
And
I cannot override KDHE.
No, and I agree with what you're saying there, Jim. I understand that, but there can be permits pulled where they have to go through and apply to show their validation for being there, or what they're doing, and a record kept of who's valid for if something goes on. And that's what I'm saying by, if this goes through, which it probably will, but if this goes through, we need to have, however it is with everything, we need to come up with regulation setbacks. This is the largest one, second largest one going in the world, right?
Been told that, I don't know that
right,
for a fact,
exactly. So wouldn't it look good to have regulations and everything and set something forth
but-
of other things
Oh,
coming?
Are you asking us to put zoning on the ballot?
I am asking for zoning on, it can be limited zoning. It don't have to be zoning straight up everything, but yes, I'm asking for limited zoning. Whatever it takes to get some permits out there.
I seen Pete going like, yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So the problem is, we asked 3 years ago for the public to bring that to the ballot and put it on a petition. Nobody came.
Well, we're 3 years in now, and we're ready to put it on if
So,
we
Bo, you
can.
want me, so I've asked multiple people, you want me to tell you what you can and can't do with your land?
It doesn't.
And everybody
if
says
you're-
no, but I want you to tell me my neighbor what he can and can't do, but not me. You
If,
can't.
did
that's
you read that
hypocritical.
attorney's letter?
I did.
If you're farm exempt, if you've got a farm and stuff, you can still put stuff on and barns
so are
and
these
stuff.
places not farms?
What these are farms. It's an industrial farm.
My understanding of limited zoning would be something similar to special use permit. The permit would have to be issued.
But it's a
for
power
commer-
plant.
A commercial application or an industrial application in the county.
Yes.
The farms would be grandfathered. Until you wanted to build a solar panel, then you'd have to go forward with this zoning regulation.
Which
to
would help
regulate.
the regulating side of things. Yes,
Are you
no,
willing to
I'm,
give us a petition?
yes, we can come up with a petition and do
If
it.
you do, bring us a petition, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have a choice. We have to put it on the ballot.
And that's what I'm coming here, and Clifton, I'm not coming here barking, and I don't think you were barking at me neither, we were just talking, but that's what I think we can get the best of both worlds with this.
I think so.
But, I mean, we gotta start somewhere, so where do we start? So we need to come up with a
Well,
petition.
that, and of course, we're reviewing setbacks, that will help going forward right away.
Right.
But and I hope to have that done next 30 days or so.
Sure,
But the special use permit going forward if we'd done this 3 years ago, we wouldn't be sitting here today. They would have to come forward, apply for a permit. Here's our regulations, here's our setbacks, you have to do this, or we don't give you a permit. But we don't have that tool today, and I asked for that tool, as Clifton mentioned, 3 years ago. And for some reason at that time, the public didn't want to pursue it. You know, to mention zoning in this room in the past, they might hang you out in the courtyard. So, to be honest with you.
Right.
Well, I mean, I don't mind telling
And
you.
I think
I dare you
there's-
to come to my house and tell me what I can and can't do with my land.
well, and I think we can do limited zoning, it don't have, I mean,
same way.
however, we can limit it to straight up industrial. I mean, how, it doesn't, you know, we don't have to get so critical like you're saying, Clifton, as far as you can tell me what you're doing on my land. We can limit it just straight for the industrial side of it, limited zoning. I mean,
Where
I'm
does
just
it
throwing
stop?
options.
I'm saying, where does that stop? When does a cattle operation become industrial?
I guess the minute you turn solar farms on it or
So
windmills,
you're
I
saying
mean,
1,000 head of cattle isn't industrial?
no,
Cattle is not industrial?
how's that industrial?
Is it considered commercial? Would 1,000 head of cattle be considered commercial?
No.
It would be some
I
kind of
would think
feedlot.
that would
probably.
be agriculture side of it, not, but,
Yeah, a feed yard.
I mean, I think that's stuff that we can eradicate or talk about for sure, but if a feed yard is one thing, yes, I agree with Deb with their, that's totally different, but I think we can have some sort of,
But a feedlot is regulated, I believe, by KDHE, the runoff, et cetera. So they'd have to meet the state guidelines.
right.
Already in place.
Sure,
So-
and just an example, but,
Yeah.
and I'm not after trying to, like I said, can't put a barn, I'm not, if we can just come up with some sort of, whatever it takes to be able to come up with some sort of regulations,
My
whether it be
opinion, that-
limited zoning or zoning, whatever,
It would be a
but,
special use permit for industrial
yes.
application in the county. Bring us a petition, we have to put it on the ballot, the voters can decide.
So how many,
County signatures.
yes, how
We
many
need to get the county clerk
signatures?
on that.
I'll have to do some research.
Okay.
On that.
They all
Like
have to be-
5%.
all have to be voters, right? Correct, registered voters.
Registered voters of the county.
Yep, we don't have any problems.
I'm gonna say about 600, I think.
No.
It's not?
5%.
That's 5% of the last registered voters was
No, not
11,000 people,
registered
wasn't it?
voters. People who voted,
Oh, people that voted, not registered voters.
no.
We don't need very many then. We don't get very many voters.
If you get it now,
Yeah,
it'll be like less than 100.
yeah.
Isn't it of the last presidential election?
It is the last
Last
general
election.
election.
And we have to have it 60 days before she prints the ballots, or something like that, right, Jennifer? Before the election.
Before an election.
Okay,
So I'll do some research and get
That'll
you that
work.
numbers.
thank you, gentlemen.
And you cannot bring a petition
Thank you.
after a certain
Okay.
day, within I got it all right here.
Who else? Michael? Michael Hoyt, you're up.
Okay.
Sit down, Troy. Sit down.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Hoyt.
Last week, I guess I could use his name, Mr. Gentry, had you all make a motion and vote on a body that would oversee the collection or dispersion of the sales tax for the emergency, whatever we're calling it, emergency department, et cetera. I have a few questions, and you can hold your answers till the end or whatever, but I don't want to get in this debate back and forth.
Okay.
Do you plan to reduce that to a resolution? I mean, just making a motion and appointing these three individuals, and who was the third? Oh, Craig Campbell wasn't even here to say whether he was willing to serve or not. So I think that was kind of a off the cuff that we should maybe formalize. Secondly, I met with Mr. Gentry and Mr. McCoy earlier that day and voiced a few of my concerns that I was hoping that Charles would bring up, but he didn't. One of them is, do you realize that we're going to be collecting the sales tax well beyond the expiration date of our donation agreement with the owner of the building out there? Now, without having a signed and dated copy of that agreement, it's hard to tell, but we're assuming that it began in November of 2021.
I believe that's right.
Okay, so now we're almost 3 years. This November will be 3 years into that agreement. And the agreement says after 5 years, we can't do anything. So my concern is if we don't have an agreement with the owner of that building to utilize the space out there, we will collect this sales tax that can't be dispersed for the emergency department until after 5 years, and they don't even have to open the door for us out there. I would like to see us enter into an agreement with the owner of the building saying for a period of time that we can utilize that space, and we might as well go ahead and nail it down. Are they going to charge us rent? Are they going to pay their property taxes? You realize they owe about $200,000 in property taxes and they're delinquent. The other issues that I had were the fact that we're hanging our hat on the phrase in that contract that they will open an acute care hospital. Nobody knows what an acute care hospital is, but have they made any moves in the last 3 years that even appear that they're going to open an acute care hospital? So in 2 more years, after November, they can walk away from that building and we'll get it back, and they got to keep our $2 million. That's why I adamantly, and because, I'll give you one more concern I have. Mr. Gentry was using funny math on arriving at a amount that would be collected for the 0.25%. I suggested that we call the Department of Commerce, who does projections of sales tax. Sales tax revenue is going down, and I think whoever monitors that here could attest to that. During COVID, it was much higher because nobody would go to Kansas City on the bet that something would be open, so they stayed home. So sales tax revenues are going down, but I'm sure the Department of Commerce, they have people that sit around and think about this stuff all the time, project what sales tax revenues are going to do over the next 5 years, and we ought to be able to predict how much in 5 years we will have collected. Is it enough? Those are all the reasons why I'm against the sales tax as we have on the ballot. I say vote no because I'm not sure we should have made it more than 0.5%. But we need to have a roadmap to how we're going to get to that emergency. And Clifton, you know you've said this, an REH is probably not going to happen here. And
not in any near future.
Not in the near future, right?
I didn't say it's not going to happen.
Well, maybe not in my lifetime. I don't know. I mean, we know how Congress works now, and it's not functional. So if we're hanging our hat on a 5-year period that an REH is going to be passed or backdated or whatever, I think that's a pipe dream.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Anybody else, Clifton? Or you want to comment to him, or?
No.
I don't.
Can I say one more thing?
A Cora request has been made to the clerk to receive a signed copy of that donation agreement, and it's not available in the clerk's office. An appeal has been made to the county attorney, and she's throwing it back at the clerk, and Jennifer has done everything that she needed to do. So the county attorney needs to be involved in this, because she is the appeal, so I might as well use her name, but that office, the county attorney is an elected officer who is responsible for an appeal of a Cora violation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else, Clifton? That it?
Pete,
Pete?
I'm back, guys.
Gee, I'm surprised.
Get you a big chunk. All right. There's a tornado 4 miles from my house this weekend.
That's
A
close.
good friend of mine's house. I went over and looked at it. Spread to 10, a mile and a half. 2 different people said, what if there had been a solar panel field right there? We're going to do this petition deal. So we need a lawyer. We'll have our lawyer write it up. That's fine. And so we need to bring this into Justin Meeks when we're done, and he's going to look it all over? Or the county
Bring it to
clerk?
County clerk, and I think she'll before. So that
Okay.
Justin,
All right,
the
and
county
you'll let
council
us
look-
know how many signatures we need to get it on the ballot. And they're registered voters, correct?
No, elected.
Oh.
People who participated in the last general election.
Okay, all right. There we go on that. Rob Harrington, I'd like to visit with,
Let me say, Jennifer's going to decide that, Michael's not.
okay, I know. We'll be in to talk to her. There we go.
Thank you.
That's what we'll-
Do is I can
Thank
leave.
The last time Rob stood up here and talked, he told us we were gonna get $800 million worth of input in this county. I kinda wanna know where that's coming from. We're gonna get $80 million worth of tax money. Kinda wanna know where that's coming from. And he also said it equates to an 80% drop in our taxes. Can you look the minutes over when Rob said that?
Well, I believe, and Clifton, correct me if I'm wrong, he was talking about a $800 million project out there, Rob, that would bring that much.
$800 million project is $400 million of assessed value,
Yes.
of due assessed value after the first 10 years, which could accumulate to an 80% reduction in your property tax if they so choose to take the increase in assessed value and therefore negate your mill levy at that amount.
So they're gonna drop.
They could, commission
Good.
10, in
It's up
10
to
years.
them ultimately, the
Commissioners-
It's up to the commissioners at the
Yeah.
time,
at the
when
time.
in 10 years.
Excuse me, but I won't be here, so.
Well, I don't know how many times you guys have ever seen on the front of the Fort Scott Tribune, it says, whoa, the mill levy's paid. Our taxes are all dropped.
We've
$400
dropped,
million
oh,
increase in
whoops,
assessed
excuse me.
value, it could negate to an 80%.
In my
If they
term
don't do it,
my term so far, we've dropped 7 mills.
Well, I believe it, but my taxes don't show that you dropped anything.
I don't know about the tax part of
Well,
it.
I know.
Because the valuation, the state raised the
Yeah.
We
valuation.
don't have the assessed
But,
value. Right now, we are assessed at $500 per capita less than Allen County, which means they have more money to spend on roads and bridges and sheriff's deputies than we do.
But they have way less people than we do.
But they also have more assessed value than we do.
Okay.
Public comments, not Rob Harrington comments.
But he mentioned my name, and you say that all the time,
Yeah,
Michael.
No, I'm saying, I don't care. You
Okay,
can defend
okay,
yourself.
all right.
You can defend yourself.
Okay.
I couldn't
All right,
step
Pete.
up here before.
You're fine.
let's finish up.
Okay.
Let's clean up.
We're gonna step up and do this.
Thank you.
what do you get, I mean, what do you, can I ask?
Yeah, you can
Pete,
ask anything.
What exactly are you against with solar
I'm
panels?
against
Just that-
somebody putting solar panels 275 foot from my house. I'm against them putting a health risk on my family and on everybody else around here. I'm against the water running off into the neighbor's pond, and we're possibly making a health hazard through the
So-
cattle. Let me finish.
Okay.
I let you finish. I'm against a lot of this stuff. I'm against somebody, I'm really against somebody not even having the nerve to call me and ask me, hey, what do you think of this? The NDAs on all this, non-disclosure agreements on all this. I'm against that. We should be more transparent in this county.
That's not us, though, Pete.
Well, if
You can't.
if I'm going to do something on my
directing that
land,
towards us.
do I cut you off?
You're
Do I cut
directing
you
the
off?
NDAs
We're
towards
getting ready
us.
to end this real quick.
So,
I'm the chairman. I can stop the entire meeting if I want to. Please finish your statements?
That's all I got to say then.
Okay.
I would appreciate being able to finish my statement better than that.
So the health risks.
Yeah.
What health risks?
Clifton, look it up. There's all kinds of health risks on these
Okay.
things.
What we're
So
going to
where
do.
did you work at?
This is
Where-
all
Did you
over.
work at the
Do you look at
Burlington?
anything?
Did you work at Burlington?
Huh?
You worked
Yeah,
at
I worked
Burlington.
at Burlington. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I worked all over radioactive stuff.
And
I work with people
were
in
you
health
concerned
physics.
about there? Were you concerned about the health risk then?
No, because I had somebody there to protect me.
So,
I had
so
health
the same
physics people.
But Pete, the same people are doing the same
No,
thing.
they're not.
Yes, they are.
I've talked to the same people that I worked with out there. They said there's an
Okay,
EMF
do you
field
understand-
around this.
Do you understand? No, there is not.
Huh?
There's no more EMF field than this phone or any other transformer
Take
in the country.
108 acres of that phone and put them next to your house.
The only thing that is the
We're going to get KDHE involved in my review process.
they're already reviewing it. I mean, the
They're
thing is
they're already reviewed it, but they're going to give me
here's
some
the
stuff
thing.
in writing.
The chemicals
so.
that are used to make solar panels. Look, I don't like them either. But the fact, let's talk about facts. You're not talking about facts. Cadmium telluride
Yeah, tell us-
potentially is in some of them. Most of them are now made with silicon, which,
No.
by the way, they put in people's bodies every day. And
Not
so,
mine.
Okay.
so cadmium telluride in a solid state is no different than it's in multiple things.
They also
they-
tell you
they-
that those phones, if you put them up to your head all the time, before very long, they'll make you sick.
No, that
Now
is
put
that has been
108
proven.
acres
That has
next
been
to
proven
your
to
house.
be. That has been proven to be false, actually.
Okay.
Please,
Um,
that's,
so you're dealing in myths, just aren't true.
Now you asked me to come up
Anyway.
with where's your
can I ask you a simple question?
yeah.
Hey Pete,
Why,
Clifton's trying to get you riled up so they kick you out, so.
No, I'm not trying to
Yeah.
get him riled up to kick him
no,
out.
no, let me,
Christmas.
now this is a really sincere question.
Yeah.
Why, if so many things are wrong here, why hasn't your lawyer showed up on the third floor and stopped it? I mean,
Because we haven't gave him that kind of money yet, Jim.
But if
What you got came out of our pockets, out of probably about 30 people in this community, put the money forth to give you what we've got. We'll go ahead with it.
Well, that's really a sincere question because.
That's a really
if it-
sincere
if-
answer.
If it was next to my property, I financed the farm, I had to get that
Well,
lawyer
we
upstairs.
really, you told me 4 times if I bring you paperwork in that
Yeah,
showed you
but
that what
our
wasn't.
lawyers disagree with everything on that letter, so I can't support that letter.
Okay,
So I'm saying, get your lawyer to town.
we'll get our lawyer
And
to
get
take
a
care
legal
of this.
document upstairs and.
File an injunction.
File and the court can order it stopped,
Okay, that's what we'll do.
but move
it
forward with
showed-
your petition.
Now, can I say something?
Yes, sir.
You told me 4 times, if
Yes.
I brung you paperwork in that would show you how to stop this, that's what we brung you.
But we disagree with the paperwork. I mean,
Okay.
it's-
Our insurance company, our insurance attorneys disagree with that guy. That's the
Okay.
thing. And so you want us to bankrupt the county. That's what you want us to do.
You
you know, Pete,
can sue
whatever
for
we
anything,
do,
you gotta win.
excuse me, whatever we do, this kind of
that's all.
meetings has got to discontinue. We either got to stand here and talk. I mean, you keep asking us the same thing, Pete, and I respect both you and Bo a lot, but you've got to help yourself upstairs, get an injunction, legal injunction. Well, that's fine, but that's going to take time. If you want something done now, you better do something upstairs.
You have civil recourse.
The whole thing can be shut down.
You have-
Well, that's
No, it
that's
can't.
your lawyer out of 5. That's one lawyer out of 5. We have to listen to the other 5 too, Pete.
Okay.
I mean,
We
excuse
have
me,
to
I'm
listen to
sorry.
the ones that actually know what
We
they're
do
talking
have to
about.
listen to our lawyers too. So anyway, who's next? Who's next? This,
Vance Eden.
That was very.
I'm sorry. I was rude?
That I want to listen to the one, that I
Okay.
want to listen to
I'm
the
gonna- I'm
attorneys that
fixing to
actually
adjourn
know
the
what they're
meeting.
talking about?
I'm going to adjourn the meeting if we need to. Okay. Conversation's over. I'm either going to adjourn the meeting or I will have the sheriff remove the crowd. I don't want to be rude. I think the world of everybody. I got good friends in the audience. Half of you and I don't know. I don't want to do that, but this is a Bourbon County Commission meeting. It's not a crap show. We're going to move forward in a professional way or we're not moving forward. It's just that simple. I have that authority to stop this meeting and adjourn it with his second, and we don't want to do that. We want to sit here and serve the public. And I understand what you folks are saying, but one letter from one lawyer doesn't rule out the other 5 lawyers. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. We have lawyers too that says that letter don't say very much. So please understand our side of it.
You have civil recourse to file an injunction against your neighbors. It's
Yeah.
plain and simple.
And
That is not our job to do for you.
And I don't understand why you guys don't do that.
Well, I'm just gonna keep it short. Nothing else.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
That's what I was been trying to ask a little bit before.
Yeah.
Well,
We asked for you to come in after the windmills and to do a petition, and you didn't do it.
Okay.
Vance,
Rob wants to,
Rob,
is this just going to continue this battle? If it is, we're not going to talk about it.
Vance Eden.
Vance Eden, please. Thank you.
Hi guys.
Good evening, sir.
So I'd send you some messages so you kind of understand what this is about, and I brought kind of those documents if you want those again, but you can decline those if you don't need those.
Thank you.
Sorry, my blood pressure's high, and I'm not even in that conversation. So, first of all, I'm not here to fight with anybody. After we met last week, I guess that was, and I appreciated the conversation then, and your willingness to hear me then. I was just looking through what are some typical things like schools negotiate with counties, and I came across that first packet. It's the short one on front and then the one behind. And it's that 12-147 and then 12-1742. And the 147 is the general provisions part of that state statute. And then that 1742, which if you need a moment to read, I'm happy to give that, or maybe you've already read that. It just talks about, when payment in lieu of taxes are received. It talks about a distribution method that is proportional to the mill levies in the affected areas. And I hope that suffices that definition. And I know you've had time to look at that. And so, I'm just here to start a conversation, for sure, not expecting any resolution or finishing of one. And while I believe that would mean that we're entitled to part of that, I was struck by that I felt like it was an equitable distribution kind of method. And obviously, me included, but people are going to come to you asking for those funds. We all have things that are priorities for us and things that we're passionate about and things at times that we're short on funds for. And so I felt like that distribution method described in that state statute spoke well to that. And I know, like me and my job, you guys have to balance shared decision-making and varying opinions and those kinds of things. And I felt like that this was maybe an equitable method. And so I guess that's kind of my first question is, if you, again, I'm not expecting an agreement or anything tonight, but as you read that, what concerns do you have about that distribution method, or are you just completely opposed to that and want me to not have the conversation, or kind of what are our thoughts about that?
Here's my thoughts. I
Yeah.
visited with our council, of course, and I visited with our CFO, of course, and I have been told it gets down if the agreement says it's a pilot, payment in lieu of taxes.
Yes.
Or if it's a contribution. A contribution is not the same as a pilot in legal terms. But my part of it, we're reviewing it.
Yeah, of course.
And if U-235 is entitled to some of this money, you should get it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that perspective. And again, that was shared with me to some extent. And so I'm no attorney. I've tried to
not
figure
either.
out like what the difference between those things are, and I can't really find that. The definition, and I found a few different definitions about payments in lieu of taxes. Honestly, most of the things when you try to find pilot information, it's about a federal PILT program, like PILT, which is like when the federal government owns a piece of land, they contribute like that portion of money to a county, like a national park or something like that. So there's not a whole lot about these types of, or I couldn't find a lot about these types of agreements. Kind of the definition I found and there was a couple similar to this, but payments in lieu of taxes are payments that help local governments offset losses in property taxes due to existence of non-taxable or tax-abated property or equipment within their boundaries. And so, again, that's my big question too. When I read that definition,
Yeah.
and that's not, I don't know whose definition that is, the internet's not always right. It sounds like that. And to me, it sounds like that to me. And I guess the reason I feel like that is partly because there was an agreement, and not an agreement between you guys, but prior commissioners, essentially we're not going to do anything to impede that. It mentions that statute, which is that second page about why they're tax abated for the 10 years. And then just kind of, obviously it talks about the payment schedule and all those kinds of things.
Okay.
So I understand that we're calling it a contribution, but it sounds like it meets that definition, which I guess is again part of the reason I'm bringing it up.
My thoughts, again, was, and Clifton might be different. I think we need a couple more weeks to review
Yeah.
this. I definitely, as I just said, if that's what the state law is, that's what we need to do. And contribute that to U-235, that portion, if that's
Right.
what the law says. And if not, as I mentioned last week, maybe we can figure out some way
Of course.
to help you folks build that building or something.
Of course.
But I would ask a couple of weeks to let us finish the legal review and see what avenue we need to go to help you.
Right, and I mostly just put myself on the agenda. We had a conversation, and
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to have a conversation, and I'm happy to come back next week, or if we want to schedule out a couple weeks,
Give me
then
2 weeks.
then
Give us
that's
2
fine
weeks,
as well.
please.
Okay.
If that would work for you, that's still,
Yeah.
your time frame's okay?
Yeah,
Couple weeks?
I've submitted that grant application, and I guess we're committed to doing whatever we have. If we can win the grant, then we're going to do whatever we have to.
Sure.
Right? You have to kind of strike while the iron's hot on that front, in kind of some sort of financing version or something like that.
As I mentioned last week, my goal is to help the kids.
Yeah.
In Bourbon County.
Of course.
So, Clifton?
Yeah, I mean, if we legally have to, then perfect. If we don't, then we try to figure out how to help you. In my
Yeah.
opinion, we would have to help the other school district also in a comparable amount. So, just have to see.
I
I
appreciate
mean,
that.
I would say, I would have no problem, Vance, saying of the money that we potentially will get from the Hinton Creek or whatever it's called, NextEra, Evergy, ultimately who it is.
Yeah.
If we could get, that money and disperse that to the kids across Bourbon County, I think it would be great. The problem, I can tell you, there are lawsuits coming from both sides, apparently. But I know there's coming from the landowners that have leases. I was told that today, that there will be lawsuits coming. So, so we may have to spend that money on lawyers, and
I
you
hope
can
not.
thank all the
And I think
people
that
out
was
there.
my encouragement too. Like, I think there was initially some fear because I had talked to KSB that I was going to sue the county. That's not my intention at all.
I'm not saying, no, I'm not talking
No,
about
I
you.
know.
I'm
I
talking
just
about
want to
the solar-
clarify
I'm
that.
talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
it appears
Yeah.
we are going to get sued by both sides of the solar panel people.
My intention is to not be suing anybody. I have enough
So-
law things in my regular
No, I
kind of
was not-
job.
it was
I
not
hope to
directed
have
towards you at
just
all.
a conversation
Our
and
goal
that's
is to
figured
help
out.
you put up a building for your kids.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, of course.
So,
And
but
I
we may
appreciate
not
that.
have the money to do it.
Yeah.
Just say that.
And I don't know, and Jennifer may not know today for sure. I'm sure she doesn't. So it talked about in that formula that like the clerk would. I talked to the Kansas Association of Board Clerks president, I think was her name, and she said that in their county they use a distribution method like that, and the clerk is the one who kind of figures out those percentages. Remember, I made up one just because I don't know how that's figured. But anyway, she said, just to relay, typically the clerk could figure out what those percentages are if you used a proportional method, and then obviously
And you say it's based off your mill levy.
it's based off the mill levy, and I provided her a copy of that statute. I'm sure she can look at that, and I'm sure that there's people there to
Let's
help
work
support.
together going forward.
I appreciate your time,
How about
guys.
that?
Thanks a lot.
Lance.
Okay, thank you. Department update, Eric Bailey. Hello, Eric.
Howdy.
How are you?
Great.
Well, thank you. I'm good, and you, sir?
Yeah, I'm all right. I took a spill today, though.
Pardon me?
I took a spill today.
Charlotte
You
took
did?
a tumble today.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I was just trying to look at a culvert that was washing out. It was a little slick. And you know somebody laughed at me?
Sorry.
I think
I'm really sorry I laughed at you.
His one of his feet kind of went up in the air, but anyhow, it was a good.
Wait till you get old and do that, it really hurts.
Yeah. I don't know that I would have been going down there if I was much older.
All right, federal funds exchange. We received that memo last week. The federal funds to be exchanged was $88,000. If we do our share, which is 90 cents on the dollar, we would have $79,512.09, which I recommend that's the way to go. We put that in our repair
Okay,
special improvement fund, and that way it's there for,
it's really dropped in the last 10 years.
it has.
Make a motion to, what are we putting this in?
Federal fund exchange.
For Chairman Harris to sign the federal fund exchange so Eric can have access to these funds.
Okay. I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Here's the
We can give it to
signature?
Or
We can
do
give
you
it to
sign that?
Jennifer, and then we can
Okay.
go from there.
All right.
Next thing, it's time to apply again for bridge repairs. I need to know if you want to apply again for the KLBIP, and do we want to apply again for Bridge 518, which is up on 215th, and then on the off-system bridge program, which at about a 90-some% match on that. The other one's about an 80-some%, 75, somewhere there. But anyhow, on the off-system, I would recommend 19.2-Q bridge, and that's the bridge out on Jayhawk Road, west of the hospital. It's next on the list by Schwab Eaton that rates our bridges and inspects our bridges. That is their recommendation as well. We both looked at it, agreed that we probably should.
Remember the
apply.
span of that? Approximately.
I don't. I want to say about 24, but it may be more than that. I'm not.
It's an old bridge.
It is old, so
Okay.
it needs some major
And
attention.
the other one's a big railroad overpass.
Yes.
Which we gotta fix
At some point.
somehow.
And
I think, but-
we don't have the funds to do it without a little bit of grant help.
Yeah.
So, a lot of grant help, I should say. So, completely up to you, but we need to make a decision on it because it has to be turned in by May 12th, I believe is the date. I'm not 100% positive on that.
Fine with both of those.
Yeah.
And
You mentioned you're gonna use Schwab Eaton this time.
Schwab
to
Eaton
play.
this
I'm good
time.
with both. I agree with Clifton, so
Okay. I don't know if you need to, or just, you're good with it.
I
Okay.
don't think we need a motion, but
I don't think we've
That's
ever
fine.
used
We
a
will-
motion on that.
We will apply for it and go from there.
you get it, then we'll sign the contract.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Then the last, definitely not least, is kind of update you real quick on storm damage. Ended up being countywide, started last Thursday, as everyone's aware. Northern part of the county got hit really hard with, I don't know, anywhere 5 to 7 inches is what I've heard on rainfall up there. And then Friday night, we had the large wind event. I don't know whether it's a tornado, microburst, what it was for sure, I haven't heard. Had trees damaged there, and then as everyone is aware now, a lot of rain we had Saturday night, 7+ inches, 5 to 7 inches again, pretty much around the county. That storm, that amount of rain, in that short period of time, done a lot of damage to our infrastructure. Our roads, our bridges, our culverts have all taken a major hit. The flooding aspect of it as well. We still have areas that we have not been able to get to yet. We're asking people to be patient with us. We're trying to get there as fast as we can to look and assess the situations. If we put cones out, please know that we put them out for a reason.
I've already seen some of yours moved right out here on the old highway.
I-
People driving around on around them.
And I will throw this out here, they did write tickets yesterday for driving around the barricades. Very,
Very dangerous.
very dangerous doing that. Very thankful that law enforcement done that. And when we say very dangerous, I encourage everyone to go onto our Bourbon County website. We actually put a picture of a culvert that we found. When you look at the road, and we found multiple ones like this, it doesn't look like anything is wrong with the road whatsoever. It looks like the road's in perfect shape. But what has happened is the water has ate a hole all the way through the road, and there's minimal coverage there. So if you drive a vehicle, a heavy piece of equipment, what have you, there is a very, very good chance that you're going to be in the bottom of that ditch. We put the cones up, so please don't drive around them. Please don't take our cones.
Well, you both have seen this, especially on gravel roads. The abutments of the bridge is washed out. It looks
Absolutely.
normal from the top, but
Yep.
there's no abutments. So it's gonna collapse, you go across the.
Absolutely.
You've seen that, one you just posted, I saw it, asphalt roads look pretty from the top.
Yeah.
It's washed out 6 feet below, there's nothing there.
And-
Your truck's gonna,
Yeah.
it's dangerous, so.
Yeah. It was enough that he could have crawled through if he wanted to. I mean, it was that, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
What's that?
That's a big hole.
I didn't say.
I didn't say it either. So, anyhow, crews were still out when we came up here. They were still out working. We know we got more rain coming Thursday, so we're trying to get out and at least address the roads the best we can right now, temporarily get them addressed. This is going to be a very long, ongoing process. So please be patient with us.
Yep.
And if you do have a concern with the road and we haven't made it there, please go to our website. There's a place on the Bourbon County website that you can report a road issue. So please do that. That helps us. That way we have it on paper and we can address them
Good.
as soon as possible. So anyhow, anything for me?
I don't think we say enough thank you to the Public Works Department, city and counties. I don't think we can say enough thank you for emergency personnel,
Right.
EMS, fire, law enforcement.
Right.
They had a busy weekend, and God bless them. Thank you for doing that, everyone. People need to realize that when we're sitting home safe,
Yeah.
you folks are out there, and the emergency people's out there, they got dangerous, y'all have dangerous jobs, so thank you, and tell all the guys thank you.
Will do. Will do. Got a great group of men and like
Yeah.
you said, the first responders and what have you, they're excellent group as well.
We're very fortunate in Bourbon County to have a group of people that we have served with us or work with us. We're blessed, so.
And I want to throw another thank you out there very much, and that's to the dispatchers, because they are getting bombarded with calls and they go above and beyond
Yeah.
to notify us and work
Yeah.
with us.
And I was real pleased to see some churches start opening up for
Yes.
storm shelter, so that's a good thing too, so,
Anyhow,
thank you.
if you don't have anything else for me, I think
Now, if he was to slip again, could you get a video?
I tried to get my phone out, but I wasn't fast enough. So anyhow,
Okay, thank you,
we
gentlemen.
might have won America's funniest videos on that.
We win $20,000.
Yeah, we could have won that.
Mr. Brown Allen, local disaster resolution, come in,
I'm just gonna go ahead
sir.
and stand. I've been sitting a lot today, not the last 2 days, but today I've been on the phone a lot. I just putting before you guys a proclamation for a local disaster emergency. There's no doubt in my mind we're gonna hit the thresholds, but we need to declare so that it can go to the next step, so the governor can declare. And hopefully, I mean, I don't know how much damage. I know that some of the, it's amazing, some of the counties, they really didn't have like what we had with the flooding and all that. In fact, Sunday night, I think it was Sunday night, there was 2 rivers in the United States that was at major flood, and they were both here. So they're both, like I said, going down well. But anyway, we just need to have this proclamation signed so we can get the ball rolling to get, hopefully to get funds. We'll have to redo this proclamation every 14 days until we're out of it.
Okay.
So I'll be in front of you every other week, I guess.
It's
So
gonna be a lengthy process.
it is, and
Figure out what damage we have.
and you know those photos. And also I want to throw out there that this is my first one. This is my first big thing that's happened, and kind of dropped the ball a little bit getting people informed to start with. But everybody was out, and everybody was out doing their thing. Public Works was out there working hard. City, everybody was out there. I was out there driving around. I found one of the culverts out there by the lake that, I can't believe I drove across. And, but anyway, in the future, what we're going to do is through this one, we're going to meet every morning. They're going to update me on the roads. And, if anything's opened, if they found something else. And every day, I hope to post at least twice a day updates to the county, to the people of the county on our Facebook page. I'm also going to be working with Jason, getting him information, and Loretta as well. And I kind of owe her an apology because I dropped the ball in getting with her. So anyway, that is our plan. I'm not going to guarantee we'll do 2 updates every day. I've got a lot of training coming up, and I'm not going to be here. So, but we'll do our best. And if anybody has questions, just let us know.
Thanks, Brian.
Yep.
Thank you, Brian.
Let me make you have the thing to sign?
Yep, she's got it right
And
there.
thank you. I used to do what you're doing, and being overwhelmed very easy.
Yeah, it is.
You have experience, so.
We lost our house in the '86 flood.
Yeah.
And my dad waited till the last minute last night, and he called me up and he said, when you were in that boat in 1986, did you think you'd ever have to deal with one of these again? And I said, a smart man wouldn't have, so there we
One
go.
question for Michael. Yes, Michael.
Brian, I'm sure you've said this many times over the last few days. I wish Will was here.
You have no idea. You have no idea.
In the storm that he worked with on FEMA, and we found out that we were deficient in documentation or whatever
Yes.
that was, you're covering all that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. They're documenting equipment hours, man hours. We're going as far as how much debris by weight that we're carrying off.
We have a new software system,
Yeah,
Michael,
yeah, we do.
that
And-
Road and Bridge uses, that
And-
Jim didn't have access to back then.
Well,
Right.
and wasn't there something about before and after pictures? that
Yes,
they-
we're doing that.
All that
Yeah,
stuff?
we're doing that. We got,
So-
everybody and their brothers out there, we put, everybody's on their phones. We have downloaded software that does GPS.
Right.
So it tells you where we're at, where the damage is, whatever. But sometimes it just says Maple Road because there's nothing near.
There's just,
But-
we've upgraded Eric and Dustin have upgraded the software to
Yeah,
where
that's all
That's
them.
great.
they didn't have it back then.
And we're
Well,
also.
this was like, what, 4 years ago?
It was.
Will ago?
In fact, we're actually in the process of closing that one out
Yeah.
right now.
Okay,
But,
then I just have one other.
Sure.
No, but I didn't mean to.
no, go
cut you
for
off.
it. No, go for it.
Is the county required to have a stormwater pollution prevention plan?
Not that I'm aware. Not that I'm aware.
I know the city does have one. It was
Mm-hmm.
written in 2013. I just,
And
we might check, I'll check on that.
sure, and I've thrown out there also, that's what I was gonna say was, I am working with Brad as well, and I've got them doing the same thing. Granted, they're in the county, but we're helping them because they've never done this before.
Right.
Always in years past, they always just said,
Well,
we
if
don't
we
have
had a
enough
plan-
damage, but we do.
I don't want to start this argument again, but if we had a stormwater pollution prevention plan, we might not have some of the angst of the solar panel thing, because that's what was probably violated in those examples that he gave. When they came in to do industrial work, they had to have a stormwater pollution prevention plan, and they didn't follow it.
Possibly.
The other
Okay.
thing, on Friday night storm, the tornado, I went out and looked at it, and I'm not a National Weather Service guy, but I do know that if a barn is on the north side and the tin flew to the south, that's probably not straight line winds on a storm going north. Just throwing that out there. National Weather Service did send a team to that location on Saturday. I reached out to them today to find out what they said. They have not replied. I did talk to the nephew of the man out there whose house was hit so hard, and he was told that the winds, they estimated the winds at 105, but they did not say circular or microburst or anything. But I will find out and I will post that.
Okay.
So,
Thanks, Brian.
All right.
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 6-24. It's a resolution and proclamation of the state of local disaster emergency for Bourbon County, Kansas.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And like I
Thank you.
said, you need something, give me a holler.
Yep, thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Thanks for what you're doing. Okay, County Clerk Jennifer Hawkins.
I need an executive session.
Who do you need, Jennifer?
10 minutes to include commissioners, myself, and Justin Meeks.
Okay. Make a motion, go into executive session, KSA 75-4319B2 for consultation with attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship by the two commissioners that are here, myself and Jim. Jennifer Hawkins, our clerk, and Justin Meeks will be for 10 minutes. We'll return here at 6:35.
I second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's possible litigation.
Possible litigation. Yeah,
Possible
you don't-
litigation.
Do we have a third commissioner?
I don't know. Make a motion to resume normal session, no action.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Was that it for you, Jennifer? That's all you needed?
Yes, that's all I had.
Oh, commission comments. Want to go first, Clifton?
Go ahead. I don't.
Again, I just want to echo what I said earlier about our emergency personnel, the Public Works Department, our dispatch, the list goes on and on, our churches, for really getting together and being a team effort over the storm. That's what good communities do. They work together in time of need. I believe we saw that in Bourbon County. Also want to thank the Emergency Room Committee. They had a meeting out Wichita, Uniontown last week. I started to say Wichita, I got Wichita on my mind. So I want to thank them going out there. Heard they got some good responses, so that's coming up. So that's all I have. Clifton, anything?
Nope, just the guys were still working today at 5 o'clock, so when I came to town. So they're working overtime, so.
It's gonna be a long road, so.
There's a lot of damage in the northeast part of the county.
So is the drought officially over?
Is the what?
Is the drought officially
Oh, the
over?
drought, yeah. Yeah, snap of the fingers, just like that.
Yeah.
Got plenty of water. So, yeah.
But it's gone down considerably.
It really has, hasn't it?
Yeah, the bottom's falling out of it.
It's just amazing what kind of damage water can do, though. So strong.
I mean, I looked out and I was like, it's like an ocean. I don't care.
Yeah, it is. So. Anything else, Clifton?
No, I got nothing.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
There you go, wrap.
You see how, I don't know, you think that was, those are all those holes were like eroded?
And then I have,
On 125th Street, there's a group of connexes there.
yeah.
And one of the connexes got both.
That's not good, is it?
Up where I'm at, we got golf balls on the table.
Yeah.
It rained cats and dogs and then some.
I mean, it's whatever.
No, I got to throw it away.
It was a time that you wanted to use little cubs.
So if you have nothing to report here, check, you get to check there, same thing, if you have nothing to report, and then this is the additional supplemental.
I'm wore out.
I told her, you guys get there eventually, there's nothing that's overly major.
Huh? Yes.
You know? What do you got to do with what we have?
That's it.
They're freaking out. And so, and my neighbors are freaking out. And so I'm standing out there with the radio.